don't feel pain anymore. Guess what, baby? I feel free.
But this one, oh boy. So we, I will say, at least personally for myself, before we dive into this, the artist that we're going to talk about, I wanted to avoid talking about for a very long time, since news has happened. There's been an instant feeling of, I'm done. I need a breather from this dude. This is bad. Oh my god, he's so dumb. Of course, I'm talking about Kanye West, and we're going to discuss mainly Kids See Ghosts, but I imagine we'll dive into Yee, and we'll probably dive into Daytona a little bit too.
Yeah,
Yee.
You call it Yee?
Yee.
Thumbnail for this episode has to be the Yee dinosaur.
Yes.
I declare it now.
Oh boy. But yes, we're discussing Kids See Ghosts, the collaborative album between Kid Cudi and Kanye West that came out last week. And I've only listened to this like 1.5 times, so this is mainly going to be AJ and Jackson duking it out. So
I think what it's going to be, it seems to me, as it's going to be AJ versus Jackson more than AJ.
Yeah, like I said,
because it appears
I literally said it's going to be you two duking it out. So while you two duke it out, yes. I'm going to go get a glass of water. So
stage has been set for a duel.
So you kids be good to each other. All right. Again, this is a clean fight. Again, no kicks to the nuts. No edged weapons are allowed in this arena. And most importantly, have fun. All right. So I'll be right back. Don't go too crazy. And you know what? Who wants to set the floor for this debate before I go get my glass of water?
Let's just talk about how messy the release of this entire project was.
Okay, we'll do a little background first before we get into the takes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how far back we're gonna go. I was gonna start.
Okay.
I was gonna start at like the Thursday night where they had the album listening parties that started, hours and hours late, and then the actual release of the like album itself properly was like delayed until 9 a.m. the next day. And
was this for Ye or
for Kids See Ghosts?
Yes.
Yeah, and then the track list was like out of order, and as far as I can tell, has like changed almost every time I listen to it, or at least like some of the track listings on Spotify, which is where I listen to music, were wrong and just like horribly miscredited, and so like just like coming in was such a mess. And here's the thing about Kids See Ghosts, and honestly, I do have to eat a little bit of crow coming into this, just as like I was a big doubter of Kanye's whole before anything else he said, hey, I've got a Pusha T album, a solo album, an album with me and Cudi, and then Nas's album. They're all going to be 7 songs. I'm going to roll them out in 4 consecutive weeks, and the first week is like in less than 10 days. And I was like, bull fucking shit to all of those things.
The fact that he did it is, I mean, like the quality is in such variance from maybe brilliant to definitely terrible that like obviously we're like, oh god, I wish he would just take more time. But the fact that he finished any of these even within 24 hours of the release is like truly mind-boggling. Because Life of Pablo was like, oh, another week you're gonna wait or something like. And
I mean, the state that Ye was in, like, withstanding comments, he did turn that album around in basically a week. That's my review of Ye, actually.
That is also my review of Ye.
He did apparently turn it around in like a week. Like, so there was an interview with Charlemagne today where he was saying that like he heard a completely different album when Kanye played it for him when they did their interview. Like, not a single idea or beat or vocal was the same on either of those projects, which is, if nothing else, impressive, I guess. I don't know, but the thing about Kids See Ghosts to me is that like the entire idea of this project feels like it was built in like a vial or like a test tube called just like, how do we get hip hop heads to lose their collective shit? Because it's like got this weird, futuristic Japanese artwork. It's a collaborative album between Kanye West and Kid Cudi, and it's short, so it's kind of like served up for this immediate environment of music digestion and streaming, which is like, damn dog, this album is an 11 out of 10. It's so good. It's the best shit I've ever heard. I'm on the 2nd track right now, but it's a fucking classic. Like, it's a banger. And like, it is the like live chat equivalent of a musical output is kind of how I see just the sort of like the attitude surrounding this project. And I honestly don't even think that there's been enough time on any of these projects except maybe Daytona for like anyone to kind of sit and stir and have a nuanced take on them. Like I'm kind of finally just now hammering out my thoughts on Ye, being that it's bad, it's disappointing. There's nothing interesting on it. It's completely uninspired, and like it's not even interesting to talk about Kanye's politics with regards to like the things he's bringing up about his mental health, because he's just kind of like pointing at things and saying, look at thing, and then doing nothing interesting with them, which is okay for him, but not interesting.
There's a version of Ye that is a complete disaster and a mess in a way that is deeply fascinating. I thought this album might be an album that's like not good, but deeply, and it wasn't even that. That was the thing about Ye.
A lot of people think Pablo is a bad, messy album that's completely disjointed and like with no consistent threads and like some very objective flaws.
Wrong, by the
no,
way.
I 100% agree with those people. But the thing I love about Pablo is how disjointed and all over the wall it is, and just like it is the thing that I think a lot of people are giving Ye credit for, being like a very vivid and dramatic like painting of Kanye West's psyche, even more so than My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which was built on poise and built on reputation and built on all of this like grandeur and like myths of exuberance and all of these like, you know, stereotypes of the rich and powerful, whereas Pablo is just like, sometimes I drive too fast and sometimes my wife tells me not to like make tweets that are angry and I have all of these feelings that I don't know what to do with, versus Ye, which is just like, I said really controversial shit because it makes me happy, which is just considering all of the things that he said. And like a conversation I've been having with a lot of people in my real life is like, why does Kanye have to like be a responsible political figure for you to enjoy his music? Which like the answer is, of course, he doesn't. I think like artists can do things that are morally reprehensible and doesn't necessarily have to affect your enjoyment of listening to that product outside of like them being an abusive piece of shit or just like a notorious abuser and all of that kind of stuff. Like someone just like having an opinion that's different than yours and expressing it isn't necessarily grounds to discount.
Even if that opinion on their platform is damaging, that's not that doesn't like that. It's obviously like the conversation about how do we like reckon these things is something that we're going to have for 10 years, and I don't think we're ever really going to have an answer to it. But we need to start like figuring out how to have these conversations, because it seems like every time we do, it's just like, well, we haven't figured anything out since the last time we've had this conversation, so let's just keep yelling at each other online.
All of my point was to just say that Ye to me is a bad album because it's Kanye at his most uninspired and Kanye at his most just kind of winging it and boring and not doing anything interesting. Whereas I will say that he certainly sounds more inspired, more creative, more energetic, more clearly like back on his bullshit on Kids See Ghost. It's just unfortunate to me that the bullshit he's back on is so violently unlistenable and displeasurable to my ears. Jackson, the floor is yours.
So here's the thing, and this is exactly the perfect time to unveil it. Kids See Ghost is the everything now of 2008.
It's absolutely not.
Let's let Jackson discuss this.
Let's run down the track list. Completely dog shit and botched album rollout in very different ways, but equally well received by the community of which they are a part of. Check. Large number of musical ideas that by all accounts just shouldn't work. Like some of the things that he does here are objectively like dumb and stupid. And one of the things that I really struggled with Ye originally was this kind of fear I had about whether Kanye's music at all would work for me, because a lot of Kanye's entire career and I think one of his greatest gifts is the ability to convince us that actually that was a good thing that he just did, using solely his force of personality. Like when he is able to rap about bleached assholes and you're like, you know what, that was kind of cool that you did that, Kanye. even when it's objectively bad. Like for literally since the college dropout days, there have been corny Kanye lyrics that he is able to sell with like his force of will and persona. And the thing I was worried about Ye was that maybe I can't enjoy Kanye anymore because like his antics no longer. I don't have the same kind of. He's managed to somehow like chip away at my like benefit of the doubt that I've been giving him for every year that I've been alive on this planet. And so, but it turns out actually Ye is just completely creatively bankrupt was the real problem, and that he made it in 2 weeks. Those are really the standard issues. For Kids See Ghosts, like there are lots of songs on this album. I'm sure we will get into them. I would say my perfect example of how I feel about this whole album is Free with 4 E's, aka Ghost Town Part 2, which is a rap rock song with Kanye and Kid Cudi, of which the chorus goes, "I feel free."
Absolutely by far my least favorite part of the album, by the way.
And in the course of this metaphor, by the way, it is the chemistry of this album in that it is dog shit awful, and I cannot stop listening to it. I physically cannot stop listening to the song, and I jump around my room and I yell, "I feel free," and it is the most fun I have had all year, by far. And like truly, like this album, I think, and one of the things that helped this album a lot for me is that what Kanye has spent the last year doing everything he humanly can to undermine our like good faith we have in him, because Kanye wants to see how far he can push us to the edge and get us to still love him. It is true. Like it's what he's doing is he's like, how far can I poke them until they stop loving me? And it clearly is never for some people. It clearly is never. Like he's like Donald Trump. Like I could walk down the street and shoot someone and my fans would still defend me. Like he's drunk off of that power, and that's part of what inspires his antics, is that kind of knowing that he has embedded himself so deeply into the culture that even the people who can hate him can't really get him out. He's kind of here until he's not. Like that's basically what it is. But the thing about this album is that where I have very much less goodwill toward Kanye the human being now as I did like 2 months ago, and have reevaluated my relationship with him as the person, I love Kid Cudi so much. And Kid Cudi, whether his music has ever been your thing or not, it has been for me at points in my life. And I truly, like, you can't not root for that kid. Like, he truly seems like he's had like a really, really difficult life, and he's had a lot of like difficult stuff come his way, and like to hear him as genuinely happy as he is on Kids See Ghosts, to me was like truly one of the most uplifting parts of this album. And like this album, when Kid Cudi's kind of doing a lot of his very general lyrically, I understand that, and I understand he's not exactly, neither of them are saying any, like, even though Kanye manages to not say anything that's particularly like cheesy or cringe inspiring on this album, he also like managed, like I think I tweeted this after I finished the album, but like the like forehead wipe sweat that I did by the end of this when I realized Kanye hadn't said anything that was like a truly terrible lyric that made me real happy. I don't know. I get why people don't like his album. I'm not like militant about it. I understand that like Kanye doing a Big Shaq impression isn't gonna be something that just everyone's like, oh yeah, this is clearly great. But I think it is truly one of the weirdest Kanye projects, and in a way that it just I was listening to it basically all week while I was on vacation, and I loved it the whole time. I think it's really great. That's my opinion.
So I mean, some of the like a couple of problems I have with this album are that like while Kanye and Cudi certainly sound like they work well together and like play off of each other very well, like the most interesting and enjoyable parts of the album like are not them to me. Obviously you've got a great verse from Pusha T. As much as I think like Free is a terrible song, the Ty Dolla $ign part is not that bad, sometimes gets stuck in my head, and like the whoever is doing the Kids See Ghosts
that's
part
Mos Def.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Like that's another part that just like sometimes gets stuck in my head and makes me go like, oh, I should give this project another shot. But then I get just some of like egregious vocal mixing and like experiments they try where there's like yelling and let's just fucking talk about the
yes, it's Kanye going full Big Shaq, which
it's just like it's one of the worst ideas I've ever heard executed on a song.
I kind of like it.
Like, so much of this just sounds like like listening to this album feels like I'm locked in a room with Kanye West and Kid Cudi, and they're just like banging on shit and going like, look how good it is, look how fucking like interesting this is, look how creative I am. And while there is some merit in like seeing them having fun doing that, I just want to open the fucking door and go listen to Daytona again. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's just not an interesting, it's not an odyssey that I enjoy going on for however colorful and kaleidoscopic it is, and like certainly more interesting than Ye, in that only a horrible failure can be interesting to watch play out. I will give this album that to its credit, and I don't know if my thoughts on it will change over time. I really don't know if I'll ever like go back to it to try to change my opinion on it, but just like the things that people point at in this album and go like, damn, I like that, I listen to and go, damn, I do not like that.
Okay, that's a pretty, yeah, and I can't really disagree with any points you're making. Like, that is a very fair criticism to take issue with Kanye screaming gun sounds. But the thing is, with that part, so he comes in and you're like, excuse me, what is going on here? And then halfway through, those drums kick in harder, and those drums are incredible. The drums that they put under that beat just go insanely hard. And so what happens is I go every time I listen to it, I go from like being completely bewildered and just like, excuse me, to I'm not in my head, and by the end of it I am Big Shaq style skitty pip pop bop in the studio in a way that I like had zero time for Scoop-de-Doop, because Scoop-de-Doop is just Kanye being like, look what I can do, and people
it's literally him shitting into a mic and being like, you guys will eat this up. It's literally that like phrase turned into a song. He actually did it. The fucking madman. He literally shit into the mic. Exactly. And people ate it up.
As opposed to Feel the Love, which feels like a genuine creative choice. Now, whether you think that creative choice works for you or not, it's a different question.
It doesn't. I've not had to change my thoughts on this album. But here's the thing with this album. I already don't like Kid Cudi, and this isn't just like, oh, he was better on Man Moon. This is just straight up. I just straight up do not like Kid Cudi. Here's the thing.
You're not this album. It is a Kid Cudi album.
It's a Kid Cudi album. I have liked Kid Cudi songs, but he has never compelled me for a full album. And watching his deterioration over the years has been, it's terrible to say this, but it has been enjoyable to watch his deterioration up until like Speed and Bullets to Heaven, where it was like that is rock fucking bottom. And it's
pretty bad.
He's way back up. But this album, again, like first listen, Feel the Love. It's Kid Cudi yelling into my ear, I could still feel the love, and it's like, oh my god, please, I just want it's that clip from Brooklyn Nine-Nine of Andy Samberg screaming with the acoustic guitar, playing it like badly to the acoustic guitar. It will forever haunt Kid Cudi's career, because that is the perfect culmination of Kid Cudi's career to me. It's just this dude loudly moaning and humming, and it's like, oh my god, dude, like, do you remember when Kid Cudi sent 198 texts in a row to his baby mama? Does anyone remember that?
I don't remember that.
Anyways, I unfortunately forget almost everything that Kid Cudi does.
Luckily, but I don't. But Feel the Love. This is again. I hate it. You have that, and then you have Pusha T, who comes through with a really good verse. Like, hey, Pusha T. All right, maybe this song will be tolerable after all. And then it's Kanye. Again, it's Kanye doing a Scatman routine again, and it's like, oh my god. What am like? Here's the thing. I tolerated this man. Like, it's been discussed, but again, Father Stretch My Hands Part 1. Like, the highest high of Kanye's career. It's the highest high and the lowest lows. You know, in the same song, it's this masterful intro with this great sample with that Metro Boomin tag, and you're like, yes! And then he starts off talking about I'm still mad. Bleached assholes. What is? And then it's like this song again starts off with a very like solid production, and you have Kid Cudi again. He's in this corner. He's yelling, "Feel the love." He's got that third Oasis album on blast in his headphones because for some reason that's the one he really likes a lot, even though that's the one that everyone fucking hates. And you have Kanye West, who is again like he is so drunk off his own ego, like so drunk. Like we thought, like it's so funny how we thought, oh, he's done, you know, like he had his ego death, he's okay, whatever, and then it's just like, nope, it's gotten worse.
The month where we were all convinced Kanye West had become a good person because he got kind of fat was truly a time I wish I could go back to. That was really fun when we were just all like, look at this absolute unit, and we all wanted to like hug him.
Oh yeah, he's doing a role build on Dark Souls.
Exactly.
That's for the gamers.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of wrap up, I mean, like there are moments on I do like there are obviously problems. I think Kanye is not at his best lyrically, even if he's not at his worst, and also his breath control when he tries to rap real long on this album is not great. But besides that, like, I mean,
Kanye is bad at rapping now. Can we talk about that? Like,
okay, we need to discuss why.
Let's just say that.
Like, to actually get like serious for a second, like why I cannot get into this album and why I have not listened to Ye and why I just at this point like just do not want to. Why I do not listen to like any new Kanye stuff is that Kanye is just simply, he's no longer a compelling person to me. After
he has not had a good verse in 2018. He has not rapped
he had some.
Well, it's not okay. AJ,
there are someone on this album that do work. Like he has the line on Fourth Dimension, bought an alligator. I didn't talk in Lacoste, and that's hard. Like there are parts on this album where like he says good stuff still, but
he's got good lines and stuff, but he cannot ride, and like he's producing all of these beats. He cannot ride these beats that he is producing. Like on none of these, especially on Daytona, his verse on that is just like sloppy, and you know he has like lost proficiency. He's kind of like I'm going back into the gamer shit, but he's like pulling his like rapping stat and putting it somewhere else, which is just like fucking, I don't know, making cover art that is very eye catching for ways
So I think you're absolutely right with that. Because, like, as opposed to the last couple of albums where he was, like, doing the executive producer kind of thing, and he wasn't making the beats, he has a limited amount of time that as all humans do, and Kanye has decided that he needs to do everything instead of trying to do one thing good. And so when you add in, I'm gonna make all the beats for 4 albums, there's only so much time he has to write lyrics that are better than Scoop De Whoop.
It's not even the lyrics that bother me. Like I can't overlook Kanye's.
There's also his like performance. Yeah,
it's his technical proficiency where he's breathy and he's just kind of off count and he's just like sounds like he's sitting down the entire time. Like, yo, Kanye, this album comes out in 15 minutes. Where are your verses? And he's like, hey, get out of here. The album's gonna come out.
I mean, I think honestly, I think part of that is probably just he didn't do that many vocal takes for these, probably because he put this fucking album together in a week. Yeah. So like he probably didn't do it enough times to get the take where he really nailed it. Like he's not doing the verses over and over like Kendrick is in the studio. Like it's just not happening.
Hey, do you guys remember that bit from that one Best of the Worst episode, the Christmas episode, where they're talking about the Santa Claus movie and how it seems like it was made in like a drunken bender in like 24 hours? That's what it feels like, this Kanye stuff. Again, it's all like the thing with Kanye is that we think of him as this artist that he puts out these albums every couple of years and it feels like an event, you know, like Life of Pablo, that felt like an event. Yeezus, that felt like an event. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, that felt like an event. These albums, again, it's like him trying to recreate that event feeling, but it does not feel genuine at all. It just feels like he's trying to recreate this magic that just simply is not fucking there. And it's because, like, I was trying to say this before AJ was like, before you guys went off on your tangent again, so please let me say it one more time. Yeah. Kanye West is no longer a compelling artist to me because I just, like, when he says that, like, when you say stuff like slavery is or I feel like slavery was a choice or some shit, or something along the lines of that, I just go, I don't care about you as a person. I don't care what you have to say artistically at this point. Like, you are a very important artist to me, but I have no problems dropping you, and I don't care to listen to any of your new stuff or even any of your old stuff for the time being. Like, I just don't care anymore.
It's hard to hear someone say like the other problem is that all Kanye West lyrics are about Kanye and always have been about Kanye, and that is trickier now when he's like, I shift the paradigm, and I'm like, oh, really, dude? Like, sure, yeah, you tweeting vague philosophy tweets.
This dude been watching way too many Jordan Peterson videos.
Yeah,
right?
somebody just, Kim, if you're listening, which I know you are, take away the password to Kanye's Reddit account, because that
and
man,
YouTube seems like it's really the danger zone.
Like, it's crazy how just like everything Kanye has said, we've been like as a joke, like, oh god, like tomorrow Kanye's gonna tweet, hey, have y'all seen this Rick and Morty show? It's kind of funny. And then he fucking does it, and then we're like, oh, like, how long until Kanye watches Jordan Peterson? And then he fucking does it, and it's like, how long until Kanye just like takes a picture of him Googling like, we live in a society, and he's like, this is a lot to think about, and then he fucking does it. It's just like, the man has always been crazy, but the man is now predictably kind of like, he's predictably unpredictable in a way that is just so disappointing, and it's just like an embarrassing slide to see, on top of all of the like irresponsible, inappropriate, politically messed up shit he's been saying. Just like all of the things that used to be interesting about Kanye, i.e. being a good rapper, being like a funny dude who like says nice things and is wholesome and kind, are just all gone, and the music that he's putting out is uninspired and it's bad, and it's just like, I want nothing to do with any of this anymore. It's really upsetting to me personally, as someone who loved Pablo, which like had the messy parts of Kanye's personality like so deeply imbued into it, and that's why I love it. Like, it's a tragic record. It really is this like grand, sweeping, just like look at who the man is. And I always kind of I had a deep conspiracy theory that like, yeah, this is probably going to be the last like proper Kanye West album. And honestly,
it really did feel like in some ways it was like you wanted to be optimistic about it, because look at all these new things Kanye is doing 20 years into his career.
Yeah.
But it was also like so much just came out of like the Pablo, where it kind of felt like this kind of like, here's the last of what I have. Although I don't think that's true though, because like for me,
not
like
the last,
there,
yeah.
I am still going to care about Kanye, whether unfortunate. It's just like he's too big a part of my musical world, and I'm not. But I'm no done caping for him, and I'm done like trying to justify it, because it's just like not healthy to have a kind of relationship, especially that kind of a relationship with someone who is Kanye West, and is clearly not someone you really want to put your marbles on in terms of being a good or smart person. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of liked Indicud, so like my opinion on this album you should definitely take with a grain of salt. But I really do, like, I love Reborn, even though Reborn is just Man on the Moon 3 basically. But I love it, and it makes me cry thinking about the fact that Kid Cudi's doing better, and that he like six I think it was like 9 months ago, after whenever Passion and Pain Demon Slayin' came out, he basically put out a letter on Facebook saying that like, I'm taking a break from music for a little while. I'm going to into an inpatient mental health facility, I believe, and like was clearly like in a really rough spot. And he says at the end of the letter, like, I will come back reborn. And then to take that and then bring it back on the song, he made me get goddamn emotional. So even whether or not this album works for you, which far be it from me to tell you that actually this is good. I'm not I don't even think I can go that far. But I like it. Whether it's good or not, I am not one. There is no difference between good and bad things, you idiot, you fucking moron.
Truly insightful.
I feel like, again, I want to... Basically, Kanye's evolution over the past couple of months, maybe year and a half, maybe 2 years, if we kind of go back to the whole... I thought Trump... Whatever. Let's go back to 2016 when, again, the mental breakdown... Or really, just starting with this year, it just feels like Kanye West, like, in just, like, January, he was just, like, watching, like, Fortnite videos on YouTube and just went down the deep hole of YouTube recommendations, and it's just, like, oh, God, what has happened?
It's not good, folks. But hey, that's what happens with the everything now of 2018. You're gonna get some good. You're gonna get some bad. It's gonna be tough to wrangle with.
Also, I think. Okay. Can we discuss again? 7 tracks is not like. Okay, I was gonna say this about the Melody's Echo Chamber album. Like that feels like a full fucking album because the songs are meaty, and none of these albums feel like albums. They just don't have enough meat packed into them.
He was so right about the idea of doing small albums. He just cut them a little too thin. The problem is if you do a 7-track album, it has to be a perfect silver bullet. It has to be Daytona, or else it's gonna feel underwhelming. Like that's just what is happening. Like there's a reason why Psychopomp is a miracle. It's because packed into 23 minutes is the greatest album of all time.
If Kids See Ghosts and it's was like a 20-song album and every song was like a minute, I feel like I might be a little more like intrigued by what's going on there. And like just some slight edits in the production and like some rearranging and stuff. But I that like is I don't know why he's so beholden to the 7 songs thing. Like it's an interesting thing, but whatever.
If you had told me Kanye was gonna if you had gone back in time 2 years and be like, Kanye is gonna put out 4 albums in a month, and one of them's going to be a Pusha T album, and one of them's going to be a Nas album, one of them's going to be a Kanye album, and one of them is going to be a Kanye and Kid Cudi album. First of all, I would have told you are a liar. Second of all, I would have fainted. And third of all, I would be very disappointed with what the end result of those 4 albums is. But of all of them, I mean, Daytona is definitely the best by far. That's not a question. But I like Kids See Ghosts, and that's where we can end this conversation, because nothing good happens fast.